October 23rd, 2014, Kartik. Classes in Radhakund, the glorious Seva of Srimati Radharani. Vande Guru Paradvandvam Bhakta Vrinda Samanvitam Sri Chaitanya Prabham Bhande Nityanandam Sahoritam Sri Nadanandaram Bhande Radhika Charana Dvayam Gopijana Samayuktam Vrindavana Manoharam Amala Kamala Raji Sparshivata Prashite Nija Sarasini Dage Sayamalasaniyam Parijana Gana Yukta Kridiyanti Pakaryam Snapayati Nijadasye Radhikamam Kadanu. So we're discussing the wonderful sevas that are performed by the Sakhi Manjaris of Radharani, and getting such a beautiful glimpse directly into the heart of one of the leading Manjaris and Sakhis of Vrindavan, Tulsi Manjari, Rati Manjari. So we're discussing verse 15 about how when Das Goswami came to Radhakund, he was amazed by the astounding beauty of Radhakund and how attractive everything was. The sound of the birds and the beauty of the flowers and the buzzing of the bees and the big cranes, the sarasa cranes. His heart immediately melted, and he developed intense attraction, and he wanted to. Immediately when he saw Radhakund, he remembered Radharani. As we mentioned in our book, that the Brijvasis, their vichar, their viewpoint of Radhakund is Sakshat Radharani, Sakshat Radha. They don't say, this is Radhakund, or let's offer a deepam to Radhakund, or let's do Parikama of Radhakund. They say, let's do Radharani Parikama. Let's offer a diya or deepam to Radharani. Or did you see the darshan of Radharani like tonight? I think tonight, all ghee lamps everywhere, very beautiful and attractive. All the hearts of the bhaktas, every lamp is the heart of a bhakta, glowing in brilliance and purity in the service of Radharani. Because actually now in Kartik, on the banks, and all the time, but in Kartik there's more. Many, many devotees, thousands of devotees gather here to worship Radharani. And so each of those flames is like the heart of each of those bhaktas residing on the banks and serving Radharani and praying for her blessings and mercy. So there's some, in the beginning, in the commentary it describes, because this is what Das Goswami is saying, he's glorifying Radhakund. And by what he's seeing, he's glorifying the beauty. So if one does Radhakund Mahima, if he chants the name Radhakund, or he discusses the glories of Radhakund, or the qualities and guna of Radhakund, or describes the form or the pastimes here, that's all kirtan. That's all Radhakund kirtan, guna, lila, rupa. And that's non-different from glorifying Radharani's nam, rupa, guna, lila. So when Das Goswami is appreciating the beauty of Radhakund, and Radhakund smells so good with all these beautiful flowers, these lotus flowers and other flowers and the latas, and Radhakund sounds so beautiful with the cooing of pigeons and cuckoos, and then the beautiful, colorful birds like peacocks, and so Radhakund looks very beautiful to the eye and smells very beautiful to the nose, and feels very satisfying to the heart to see and to be. So it's the same thing as glorifying Radharani. Radharani is the most beautiful person to see in any form, in the heart, in the mind, in the Archamurti, and her leelas and her leela stalis, or ultimately, directly seeing Radharani would be the greatest treasure for anyone's eyes. what to speak of smell the fragrance of the prasadi mala that was offered to Radharani, or the scents or sugandhi. Sometimes devotees give one another the prasadi mala of Radharani. Oh, it's so fragrant because it's mixed with the natural fragrance of her form. So in this way, he's glorifying Radhakund and Radharani simultaneously. And in the commentary, because he's glorifying Radhakund for its natural scenery and beauty, then the commentary is explaining that Radhakund is considered the Brajamukutmani. Brajamukutmani means it's the beautiful crown jewel of Braj. And many devotees live everywhere in Vrindavan. They live in Gokul, especially Vallabhacharya's followers and the worshippers of Gopal and Ladu Gopal. And they also worship Radha and Krishna. They have a mixture there in Vallabha Sampradaya. One line worships in the Vatsalya Bhav, and the other line worships in the mood of Rag Marg or Pushti Marg, Radha and Krishna. So their special place of their Sampradaya is Gokul. And of course, Mahaprabhu, his name is also Mahaprabhu. He has his sitting places in Baitaks and Chandra Sarovar and everywhere in Braj. So it's Radhakund, it's this crown jewel for whom? It's the Braja Mukutmani. Brajadam is Radhakund is the Braja Mukutmani, especially for those devotees whose aim and focus is Radhadasyam, the service of Radharani. Their everything is the service of Radhika's lotus feet. I often heard devotees say, if you want to serve Krishna, you live in Vrindavan. If you want to serve Radharani, you live in Radhakund. And then, of course, some people that live in Barsana, they may argue that point. I remember once one of our books is in Hindi. It's called Radhakund Mahima Madhuri in Hindi and English. And I went to Barsana to some of the great devotees there. And they looked at it and they had a small satsang about it. They said, look at this book. Who is this person? He's telling Radhakund is the Brajamukutmani, Radhakund is the greatest place. He doesn't know about Barsana? Doesn't he know that Barsana is the greatest place of Radharani's pastimes? And he doesn't know all the secret pastimes in Gavarvan and all the Kandara Rahasya Leela. Kandara means the caves in Vilas Parvat and Brahma Parvat and Man Parvat. And all these different Parvats, there's many caves called Kandara. And the Rahasya, the secret pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the caves. Doesn't he know about those? And of course I wasn't there to answer, but my answer would be yes, I know. And still, Radhakund is the topmost place. So the commentary is saying the same thing, that for those devotees whose everything is service of Radharani's lotus feet, in the mood of adasika, because there are other devotees, Vaishnavas, that very much worship Radharani, and they're called the Nimbark Sampradaya. They're Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, but their leader is Nimbark. I believe it's Vishnu Swami, or maybe Rudra. No, it's confused right now. Anyway, they come from 4 Kumaras. So the Nimbarkas, they worship Radharani also, but their idea is not the service of Radharani is our life and soul, which is what the Tika is saying. Their idea is Sakhi Bhav, that the service of Krishna Sneha Adik, more affection for Krishna is our life and soul. Because they have Nayaka Bhav. They're cultivating he's Radharani's parrot. That's Manju Bachani or Shukshmadi. He said, well, very good, you glorify, make sure you don't get confused who's the supreme. So, it's funny, they don't come very often, but I guess they're attracted to the devotees. They want to see them. All right, I agree. I can't disagree. I wish I could see what you see. He's got a bird's eye view of everything in Braj. So this is the point, that this is the everything for those that are in Dasi Bhav, Kinkari Bhav. The Nimbarkis are in Sakhi Bhav, not Kinkari Bhav. Kinkari Bhav is special. Kinkari means a servant, not a sambhogi, or not an enjoyer with, a co-enjoyer with Krishna and Sakhi Bhav and Madhurya Rati and intimate conjugal pastimes, but we're Dasi Anudasi Anudasi. Gopi Bhartu Padakamayor Dasi Anudasi Anudasi. Dasi Dasi Anudasi. We're servants of the servants of the servants of the lotus feet of Gopinath. Rasa Bihari Sham. So therefore this is the point. It is unarguable and undefeatable that those whose everything is exclusively Radhadasyam and the service of Radharani's lotus feet, you cannot compare Radhakund to any other Leela Stali or pastime place in Braj Mandal. And this is what is being stated as an amplification of this effusion coming from the heart of Raghunath Das when he saw the beautiful attraction and amazingly wondrous beauty of Radhakund before his eyes when he landed here at the invitation of Rupa and Sanatan. They said, you want to give up your body, but instead we're going to engage your body in some very useful service for the Vaishnavas. You will teach them Rag Marg. You will teach them this Mandri Swarup Upasana, Ramya Kachit Upasana, Ramya Kachit Upasana, Brajabudubir. You will teach them by your own example of Vairagya and by your own Bhakti Vidya of what is the sadhana, what is the abhyas, how to develop the bhav and seva and mood and mellows of a manjari. It will all be revealed through you, so we have a great plan for you. Radharani has a great plan for you, my dear brother. So don't give up your body by jumping off of Govardhan. This is what Rupa and Sanatan told Raghunath when he came here after the disappearance of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar, Gadadhara Pandit, etc. So he thought, there's no reason to live. My Gaur is gone, my Swarup Damodar is gone, everyone is gone. So I was given shelter of Govardhan and Radharani's charan. This Gunjamala is Radharani's lotus feet. Lord Chaitanya gave me Radharani's lotus feet. The Gunjamala is Radhika Charan, it says Natya Leela. And he gave me the shelter of Brajendra Nandan, Shamsundar and Vrindavan by giving me Govardhan to worship. So I'll go back to Govardhan, bring Giriraj, put him back, and then leave my body at the lotus feet of Giriraj. But then Rupa and Sanatan placed him here. And when he came here, he said, we're going to give you as your Prabhu Datta Desh. Prabhu Datta Desh. My Prabhu, Rupa Goswami is the Prabhu of Raghunath Das. And Sanatana Goswami is the Prabhu. He's a teacher, Shiksha Guru, master, friend, and beloved co-Manjari Kinkari in the Nitya Leela and Siddha Swarupa Vesh. But they said, we're going to give you a special place that came out of the heart of Rasaraj Mahabhav Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We came in 1510 or so, I forget, maybe, and we were looking for Radhakund, and we looked everywhere. Nana Ratnani Bada Mula Vitapa Sri Yukta Brindavane. We were everywhere. We were staying under trees and having the Leela Stalis manifest to us by the mercy of Yoga Maya and Krishna. The Kujat Kokila, we're speaking about these Kokila. In that 6 Goswami song, Kujat Kokila, Hamsa Sarasa Gana, remember? Sarasa? Do you know this prayer? Sagoswami Astakam. Kujat Kokila, Kujat Kokila, Hamsa Sarasa Gana, Kirne Mayura Kule. Nana Ratna Nibada Mula Vitapa Shri Yukta Brindavane. Radha Krishna Meharnisham Prabhajato Jivarta Doyo Mudha. So, here in the first line, the six Goswamis are glorifying the beautiful, resounding chirping and singing of the birds. The Kujat Kokila, Hamsa, the swans, Mayur Kule. Mayur Kule means the family of peacocks. Then Sarasa. Sarasa is that big flamingo, that bird that he's mentioning here. He says, Yadhatava Sarovaram Sarasa Bringa Sagolasat. And this is verse 15 of Ilapkusamanjali. Yadhatava Sarovaram, Sarovara. This is Radha Sarovara. Radhakund, Shrikund, Radharani. Raghunath Das Goswami is calling this kund Sarovara. It's Tava Sarovara, it's your kund. Then he tries, what's there? Sarasa Bringa Sagolasat. Sangha Salola. And I'm in the association of these blissful bumblebees, Bringa, Brahmar. Brahmar means Bringa, Brahmar Geet. And these beautiful, majestic, and aristocratic sarasa birds standing in the water of Radhakund, looking so majestic, pure, peaceful, and contented. Of course, they're looking for fish also. But they have that appearance when they're not eating. And so, then they're ulasat. They're in great joy, and they're making the whole atmosphere very joyful. And I'm feeling that. And what's rising in my heart by seeing all this extraordinary beauty? What's rising in my heart is an intense desire to serve you. Lala sajani taveva dasye rase. Lalasa means moving, swinging. Lalasa, coming. That great hankering is rising in my heart. Dasya ras. To relish the dasya ras, not the Madhurya ras. He's in Madhura Rati. And we explained earlier how the Manjaris experience the Madhura Rati of Radha and Krishna. But they experience it, and they are assistants in Radha and Krishna's conjugal love. And sometimes Krishna approaches them and seduces them. So they're very much, that's their permanent mood of love, is Madhura Rati. Madhura Rati. But that's their Rati, their eternal relationship. Rati means your attachment, your loving mood towards Krishna. It's not Sakya, they're not just girlfriends, just neutral girlfriends or coward boys or servants in the sense of Dasya Rati, like house servants. Like I saw in the 10th Canto Bhagavatam, chapter 9, describing this Damodar Leela. And it describes Mother Yashoda. One particular day, she decided to churn the yogurt. Why? Because the Grihadasis, they're called the Grihadasis, were engaged elsewhere. Grihadasis, very nice term. So Griha, of course, means home, and Dasya means maidservants. So in English it said the maidservants were engaged elsewhere that day. So Yashoda decided to churn the butter herself, churn the yogurt to produce Krishna's favorite, Makan Chur, Gopal. So these Grihadasis, that's their service. But when Raghunath Das is saying, Lala Sajani Taveva Dasya Rase, that I'm desiring to relish the Dasya Ras in the context of Madhura Rati. Because the Manjaris and the Sakhis and Radharani, they're serving Krishna. There's a great relish in serving Krishna. Radharani picks flowers and she makes a garland and she offers it. That's service. But the way she offers it and her feelings are conjugal. Because I'm offering this service, but I'm offering my full body is at your command. So the Manjaris have that same mood of love. My full body belongs to you, Krishna. You are mine. But in our case, we feel, Radharani, you are mine. We have Mamta. Manjari has Mamta for Radharani. The Sakhis have Mamta for Krishna. And Radharani has Mamta for Krishna. Krishna is mine. It's called Madhya. Madhya Bhav. And Chandravali has the bhav of Tvadiya bhav. That Krishna, I am Krishna's. She thinks I am yours. Chandravali thinks I am yours, and Radharani thinks Krishna is mine. So there's much more possessiveness there and sense of control, and that's the quality that distinguishes Radharani from any other Sakhi, is that she's the supreme controller of the supreme controller. Krishna's Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Govindam Adi Purusham Damam Bhajami. The controller of the whole universe and the creator of the whole universe is Lord Brahma with his four heads. And he prays, I'm not that big a controller. Actually, the supreme controller, the Parameshwara, Ishvara Parama, Brahma, no. Ishvara Brahma, yes, I'm Ishvara. Ishvara Brahma, Ishvara Shiva, Ishvara Indra. But I'm not the Parameshwara. Ishvara Parama, Krishna. And he has a Satchidananda body. I don't. I die. Abrahma Bhuvana Loke Punar Avartin Arjuna. And Krishna is telling Gita that I die. from Brahma Bhuvana, this is all places of Martya. Beginning from Brahma Loka to Pataloka, the highest planet in the material universe to the lowest, everyone dies. Janma Mritu Javyadi. So my body is different. I'm Ishvara, but I'm not Parameshwara. And my Sharir is not Sachidananda. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. My form is Asat, Achit, Niranand. And his is Sachidanand. And like this. So now that Parameshwara Krishna, who is his controller? Parameshwari Radha. And that's one of the very intimate, affectionate names that the Sakhi Mantris call Radharani. They say Ishvari. They say Ishvari. They say Ishvari, they say Priya, they say Swamiju, 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 Swaminiju, Swami. They say Ishvari, because Radharani is the Ishvari of all the Sakhi Mantris. Ishvari means the mistress, the queen, the controller. But in that, there's an implication, the Parokshavad, the indirect meaning, when the Sakhi Mantris, Tulsi Mantri, and Rupa Mantri say, oh, hey Ishvari. It means, hey Parameshwari. Hey Krishna Parameshwari, hey Supreme Controller of Krishna. So this is the place, and the very nice glorification is in the Madhya Lila, chapter 18, where Krishna's Kaviraj, who was the Sangi, who was living right, his kutir is right next to Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Krishna's Kaviraj's kutir is right next to Raghunath Das Goswami's kutir. So we're hearing Raghunath Das is glorifying Radhakund, and his best friend and associate, eternal associate, Kasturi Manjari, who is the Manjari identity of Krishna's Kaviraj, who wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita and Govinda Lilamrita. Here, side by side, so he's also glorifying Radhakund in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he says, this was the basis of the title of my book, Radha Krishna Mahima Madhuri. Kundera Madhuri Hena Radhara Madhurima, Kundera Mahima Yena Radhara Mahima, Se Kunde Ek Bara Jay Kori Snan, Tare Radha Sama Prema Krishna Kori Dhan. Krishna's Kaviraj is telling us, Raghunath Das Goswami is telling us, Rupa Goswami Pad is telling us, and Srila Prabhupada is telling us in Upadeshamrita. And one purport Prabhupada says 7 times, bathe in Radhakund, 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 bathe in Radhakund. 7 times in one purport. And people go and take Achman. Achman, can you take a bath in a spoonful of water? And Achman is a spoonful of water, ek chamach. Yes? You agree? Can you take a bath in that? No, the answer is yes, you can. If you're an ant. If you're an ant means chanti, in Hindi, chanti. Chinti. If you're a chinti, If you're at Bhakti Chinti, ISKCON Bhakti Chinti, then you can go and take Achman Snan. There's a new term that's coined called Achman Snan. It's nowhere in Shastra. It doesn't exist anywhere. I said, I meet my friends. You took Snan? Yeah, I took Achman Snan. I said, really? You're so small. You got inside of one spoonful of water and you shampooed your hair and everything? You washed your hair? Of course, we don't do that in Radhakund, but you bathe your whole body? Yeah. No. So here, now what we just heard in the Mahima, or glorification of Radhakund, firstly, Krishna's Kaviraj is saying, Radhakund is as sweet as Madhuri and Mahima. Mahima and Madhuri. Radharani is Madhuri Radha. One of her names is Madhuri Radha. She's sweetest of the sweet. Even there's some Facebook like that, Sweet Radharani or so. Very popular. It's mostly Hindi. It's all Hindi, if you can read Hindi. But it's very nice. So that's a beautiful name. So Radharani it's not sweet Radharani, it's the sweetest Radharani. So he's telling, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Radhika is Madhuri, and she's Mahima. She's so great. She's the greatest of the greatest of the great. She's Parameshwari. She's the controller of Parameshwara. She's the Prem Guru of Krishna. She's the controller of Krishna. Swadina Bhatrika. What more? Krishna is the controller of everything and everyone in the universe, as I stated in Brahma Samhita from Lord Brahma. And Radharani is controlling him. So how much big she is, how much powerful she is. And how does she control him? By her love. And what is the nature of Radharani's love? It's mystifying. It's bewildering. It's it's chamatkar, it's ashcharya. And who gets bewildered? Who gets astonished and amazed? Krishna. And because of that prabhav and influence of Radharani's love on Krishna, he surrenders to become her shishya. Shishyaste mam shadimam tvam prapanam. This is in Bhagavad Gita. When Arjuna finally gets the message that that you don't know what's going on, you better get a guru. So then he surrenders to Krishna in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, verse 7. Shishyaste hamam shadimam tvam prapanam. Shishyaste ham. I am your shishya, disciple. Tvam prapanam. Tvam you prapanam. Prapanam means sharanagati. I surrender to you. Now please instruct me. Please teach me. So this is Krishna spoke. That's why he could write this prayer in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because he spoke it to Radharani in Vrindavan. This line, Shishyaste hamam shadimam tvam prapanam. Everyone, you know Bhagavad Gita, everyone knows. This is the basic verse about guru and disciple. How does it start? It starts off with, I'm bewildered. What's the first word of the verse? Begins with a K. Karpanya dosho, like this, Karpanya dosho. He says, I'm bewildered. The disciple goes to the guru and says, this material energy, all these cell phones and internet, I'm totally bewildered. And Karpanya dosho, I'm full of faults and I don't know what to do. I'm bewildered. Please help me. Please instruct me. I surrender unto you. Prapanam. So Krishna was bewildered, enchanted, amazed, and overwhelmed by Radharani's prema. So he surrendered. Please instruct me. Radhikara prema guru ami shishyanat. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Krishna is saying, Radhika is my prem guru and I'm her shishya. So this verse, he folded his hands to Radharani and said, Shishyaste mam. Oh Radharani, I am your shishya, I'm your prem shishya, I'm your prem disciple, please instruct me. So this is the Mahima of Radharani. So therefore, Krishna's Kaviraj is saying here, Kundera Madhuri, Radhara Madhurima, Kundera Mahima, Radhara Mahima. The sweetness, the great glories of Radhakund are as great as the glories of Radharani. And the great sweetness of Radhakund is like the great sweetness of Radharani. So we read this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 8, verse chapter 18, verse 10 and 11. we read this verse and say, that's very nice. That's called Gyan. We may memorize it. That's called Bhakti Gyan. But do we realize it? And then when we come and see Radhakund, do we see, oh, I'm seeing this is the Radha Mahima. I'm seeing the greatness of Radharani. And when we see Radhakund, do we think, oh, and we taste the water of Radhakund, and we honor the water of Radhakund, the Radharani Charanamrita. The Radharani Charanamrita, Radha Govinda Yugal Charanamrita. Sometimes we get Krishna Charanamrita on Janmashtami. Sometimes on Radhastami we get Radharani Charanamrita. But in Radhakund we get Radha Krishna Yugal Charanamrita. Because even if you get, when you bathe Radha and Krishna together, many temples they do that, but many they don't. In the Brijvasi temples on Janmashtami they only bathe Krishna. So you get Krishna Charanamrita. And on Radhastami they only bathe Radha. So you get Radha Charanamrita. ISKCON they bathe together, so you get both. But you get Radha and Krishna Charanamrita, that's a fact, because the individual Charanamrita of Radharani is mixing and then you together. But when you take the Charanamrita from Radhakund, you're getting Radha Krishna Yugal Charanamrita, because here they're meeting together in divine love. And when they're being bathed in Archan Marg, in the Murti, they're not meeting together having divine love during the time of Janmashtami or Radhastami Abhishek. But in Radhakund, they're eternally meeting. There's eternal union at the Sangam. It's called Sangam. And Sanskrit, the word Sangamam means Ratikeli. Sangamam. Sangha means Sadhu Sangha, means being intimate, being Vishramba with the Guru. Vishrambena Gurur Seva. Vishrambena Gurur Seva. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the 64 limbs of devotion, the first one is Guru Padashraya. Guru Padashraya. The second and third one are Diksha Adi Shikshanam. You surrender to Guru, you take Diksha, then you receive instructions. How to do Bhakti Bhajan. And then the fourth thing is you're receiving all that mercy, now you have to serve. That's the fourth limb. Vishrambena Gurur Seva. Then Sadhu Vartmana Vartate. Then you serve your Guru with Vishramba, with great feelings of intimacy, surrender, love, confidentiality, mixed with some respect. This is Vishramba. So this is the view that Krishnadas Kaviraj, he understood, Krishnadas Kaviraj understood, Rupa Goswami understood, Raghunath Das Goswami understood, like the Brijvasis of today. When they saw Radhakund, they saw Radharani. This is Radharani. There's no difference. And the Brijvasis today, they see. So that we read the verse now, Vigyan of it, but when someday we have Gyan of it, we memorize it, oh yes, but someday we'll have the Vigyan, that yes, Radhakund is as sweet as Radharani. Radhakund is Radharani. Radhakund is the personified sweetness of Radharani. Radhakund is all the greatness and mahima of Radharani. And Radha and Krishna are eternally yugal. They're eternally combined and joined here. So when I take the Charanamrita, what we call the water of Radhakund, when I take that, I'm getting the Radha Govinda Yugal Charanamrita. The Charanamrita, washing the Charanamrita, washing the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna at the time of divine union. That's something extraordinary. And that's available in Radhakund and nowhere else in the universe. So that's why it's called a Sangam. And the highest definition of the word Sangha means Ratikeli, or conjugal vilas, union, Sangama. So this is the glories. So now, as Raghunath Das Goswami says in another place, and also as Rupa Goswami says in Upadeshamrita, Satkrit, Snatur eva Satkrit, Prema Avishkaroti. And Upadeshamrita number 11, Rupa Goswami Pad is saying, Snatur, he says, Snatur Kundam eva Snatur, Kundam eva Satkrit Snatur Prema Vishkaroti. He says, if one takes in the Kund, in this Kund, Kundam Tat, that Kund, Radhakund, he's speaking the glories of Radhakund and Upadeshamrita. If one takes once Satkrit, a bath, then Prema Vishkaroti, Prem manifest, Avesh, Prem comes into you, Avishkaroti, do, Avishkaroti means, Avesh Karoti means to do, it comes to you. that praying from the heart of the mantras, that praying from the Nitya Siddha Parikars of the Lord, Nitya Siddha Bhavasya, it's told in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Nitya Siddha Bhava, that bhava, that prema is Nitya Siddha. It's eternally existing in the spiritual realm with the Nitya Siddhas. It comes into the heart when one takes a bath. So this is being said here in this glorification by Krishna's Kaviraj of Radhakund. He's saying, Se kunde ek bara snan, satkrid. And Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, he says satkrid. Satkrid means once. Here he's making it Bengali. Ek bar is the same as Hindi. Yes? Ek bar means one time. Se kunde, that kund ek bar kore snan. This is Bengali. If you take snan there, what happens? Radha sama prema Krishna kore dhan. And said, you understand? When he heard that, he went in ecstasy. When Radharani's parrot heard that, he said, oh, this is too much. And he flew off the neem tree and he left in a shrieking of ecstasy. Tare Radha sama prem Krishna kore dan. You take one bath in the Radha Govinda Yugal Charnamrita, Radha Govinda Yugal Charnamrita, which is only available here at Radhakund, then what will you get? Sri Krishna will give you, Krishna kore dan, Krishna will give you the love that he has for Radharani in his heart. Radha sama prema Krishna kore dan. Krishna will give the love equal to that of Radha's to anyone who bathes even once in this kund. So this is the commentary on text 15 from Vilap Kusumanjali of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das in his verse, he's glorifying the transcendental beauty and divine ambience of Radhakund, the beautiful singing and chirping birds like the parrots and quail, and the beautiful fragrant dancing lotus flowers in Radhakund, and all the malatis. And then this is further glorification, Krishna's Kaviraj. So this is Radhakund. The more we hear about the glories of Radhakund, the less we'll tend to make offenses. And the more we'll relish it. I remember when we wanted to come here long ago, 1977, we offered a prayer that someday we could live here. And it was fulfilled by the mercy of Radharani in 2002, 25 years later. We were able to move to Radhakund by her divine mercy. I waited 25 years for that fulfillment. So don't feel bad. Some devotees, and because there's a lot of problems if you're a Western person. You can't live in India for very long. That's a big first problem, unless you're an Indian citizen. And that's not very easy to do. It's very difficult to become an Indian citizen. So you have to get visa and go out and come and go out and come, and we all know what that means. So I had that prayer, and then it's difficult to live here. And then the second thing is everybody is under the order of their Guru Agya. So being a Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, Chite Te Koriyakya. Without the Guru Agya, without the permission and sanction of Guru, wherever we are, wherever we stay, wherever we serve, it's called Prabhu Datta Desh. Prabhu Datta Desh. Datta means to give, Prabhu means my Prabhu. Our Prabhu is Sri Guru Prabhu. The men call other men Prabhu, because my first Prabhu, my first master is Sri Vaishnava Prabhu. My second master is Sri Guru Prabhu. My third master is Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And my fourth master is Rasraj Mahaprabhu. And my fifth master is Prabhu Krishna and Swamini Radha. So like this, we have Prabhu Datta Desh, our Guru Prabhu, he gives us a place to do seva. And for most of us, it's not Radhakund. So we serve there with the Shraddha, with the faith that Guru's seva is Krishna's seva. Guru's santosh is Krishna's santosh. And without the santosh or pleasure and satisfaction of Guru and Krishna, there's no kripa. And without kripa, there's no success. I read one verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I forget where, but it said, Sadhu kripa, nam kripa, prema siddhi prapti. It said one attains the perfection of, it's a verse here, talking about sadhu kripa. and I was just reading here and there. It says, Sadhu, I was very impressed, I wrote in my notes. It's in there. Sadhu Kripa, Nam Kripa, Prem Siddhi Prapti. By the mercy of sadhus and the holy name, one attains Krishna Prem. Very significant point. So therefore, the Prabhu, if we have that Shraddha and we surrender, so then we're serving other places than Radhakund and Vrindavan. So that was my situation also for 25 years. Then finally, with the sanction of my authority, my GVC and blessings, I was able to come to serve in Vrindavan Temple in ISKCON in 1987. And that service, my sankalpa, my prayer was here in the dust of Radhakund, and hopefully in the ears of Radhika and Shyam. On the banks of Radhakund in 1977, I cried and prayed to Radharani, please someday give me residence in your holy abode. And 25 years later, sounds like a long time, and certainly it is. So there's one quality of a devotee that's necessary to get anywhere near prema. It's called patience. Patience in the service of Sri Guru. But unfortunately, especially nowadays, most people are impatient in the service of Sri Guru. They want to immediately jump to the service of Radharani and Krishna without having any patience in the service of Guru. Patience is the, there's so many phrases about patience in the Bible and everywhere. It's the basis of success everywhere. Nishchayat, utsaha nishchayat dhariyat. Rupa Goswami warns us, don't be passionate. Rupa Goswami warns us, you're in Kali Yuga, I know it. I'm also in Kali Yuga. So I'm warning you, don't be passionate. Don't be aggressive. Relax, be patient. But be enthusiastic. Utsaha nishchayat. Be steady in your enthusiasm and always be patient. Nishta comes between these two words. Utsaha nishchayat dhariyat. Why? Every single thing that the acharyas do, how they place a word, why they place it here in a pada or shlok, and why they place it there, it has significance and purport. And those Rasik Janas and Mahajans, they bring it out and explain to us, so then we get illumination and deeper understanding of what we're doing. Everyone knows that verse, yes? And nectar instruction. Utsaha nishchayat dhariyat. Nishta. Nishta comes between utsaha and dhariyat. Utsaha means enthusiasm, being energetic and excited to serve. And dhariyat means, dhira means patience. And the middle is nishta, means we should be very steadily, that means steady, day by day, enthusiastic, excited about serving Guru Prabhu, Sri Guru Prabhu, my Prabhu, who's given me this place, Prabhu Datta Desh. And we should be enthusiastic, we should be fixed in patience. They have a phrase, the rock of Gibraltar. There's somewhere in the Mediterranean, at the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea in the geography of the world. There's some big rock there, maybe European people maybe know better. It's called the Rock of Gibraltar. It's a signpost for navigation when you're in a sailboat and you're approaching. If you see that rock, then you know you're in the Mediterranean Ocean and you navigated correctly across the Atlantic Ocean. And if you don't see it, then you don't know you're somewhere crazy. You went somewhere down in Africa or somewhere. So navigation. So this is the point. You should be steady like that rock of Gibraltar. That's the phrase. So that steadiness and patience, steadiness and enthusiasm. In the beginning, it's called utsahamai. This is called anishtita bhakti. Anishtita bhakti is described in Madhurya Kadambini by Krishna Chakravarti. Beginning, oh yeah, Krishna Kasha, it's so exciting. All these saris and dhotis, it's so much fun. They wear these clothes and this tilak, and it looks so cool, and wow. And then and kirtan and artik and mahaprasad, and we offer our food, and we have these ghee lamps, and we go like this, and we have these scents, and so many exciting things that enthuse they enthuse all of our senses. Our eyes get enthused with colorful deities and outfits. Oh, look, and I got this new pink sari and purple choli and this and that. So we get enthused about all these colors, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our hands, and serving Guru, and it feels good chanting and doing and working for a change, because I've been so lazy my whole life. And now I joined the temple, and I'm really working, because I was so lazy. I just work and kick back and kind of take different herbs and relax. So, but now I have to, day and night I'm just working like anything, and I like it. I can't believe it. I couldn't stand working before. I would just try to avoid it like anything. I just went to work, get money, then relax. But now they don't pay me even. I don't even get paid. I'm working. I was working 5 days a week outside the temple, and only a few hours a day. Now I'm working 18 hours a day, every day of the week. 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, for nothing. Huh? You must be brainwashed. Call the psychiatrist, call the deprogrammers. Beat this guy. Strangle him, do something, get him to stop chanting Hare Krishna. So this is the utsaha, the beginning, and then, oh wow, this is really hard, I really miss my old food and stuff, and this prasadam, I really like that ravioli and pizza and stuff, and we never have that. We just have rice dal chapatis every single day, and it's so boring. What to do? And and I'm tired of wearing these dhotis. I want to wear my jeans and t-shirt. I'm tired. I feel like I'm wearing a dress or something. People are making so many comments. So I want to wear my jeans. So then you lose your utsaha. At any rate, I don't want to get into all that, but. So we have to be, the idea is utsaha nischaya dharya. We should be very, very steady and all from day one to the last day, and very patient. So I'm giving you a prime example of my own life. I waited 25 years to get the opportunity. It's my misfortune, I guess, because other devotees immediately can live here. And they first come to India, they live in Radhakund, and they never leave. They're very fortunate, both subhagya. But every man's fortune is different. No two people are the same. So I'm telling the story of my fortune or misfortune, and to encourage those that don't just land up here and stay forever. And there are many Western people like that also. And I have all respect and pranams for them. But my fortune was not so great. But I have some fortune by the mercy of Guru and God. So like this, we're patient, and then we can someday stay here. So he's saying, this is the translation to these, this prayer. This Radhakund is as sweet as Radha's sweetness, and Radhakund is as great as Radha's greatness. Sri Krishna will bestow a love equal to that of Radha's love, to anyone who bathes even once in this kund. Krishnadas Kaviraj says this, Raghunath Das Goswami says this, Rupa Goswami says this, Srila Prabhupada says this. Do you need any more encouragement to bathe in Radhakund at least once, or twice, or thrice, or fice, or sice, or no, 6 times or 7 times? Rupa Goswami says, he's the Abhideya Acharya according to our view. Not everyone has that idea. And Raghunath Das Goswami is Prayojana Acharya. So the Abhideya Acharya says bathe, the Prayojana Acharya says bathe, and then Krishnadas Kaviraj is our Mahajan, our Gaudiya Vaishnava Mahajan. He says bathe. And the Shiksha Guru for all the members of ISKCON and Diksha Guru, and the well-wisher of the entire world through his books and lectures and his presence everywhere, Srila Prabhupada, he's telling everyone to bathe in Radhakund. So it really, as we say in America, it beats me. It beats me when somebody comes and they don't bathe. And I meet somebody and they give some cockeyed reason or so and this or that. I said, what? What are you saying? Have you heard of Krishnadas Kaviraj? Have you heard of Raghunath Das Goswami? Have you heard of Rupa Goswami? Have you heard of Srila Prabhupada? There's nowhere in any book of Srila Prabhupada, and there's nowhere in any lecture of Srila Prabhupada, public lecture, where Prabhupada says, don't bathe in Radhakund. There's only one private conversation, which is not a public lecture to the members of ISKCON. It's not a Mayapur lecture, a Vrindavan lecture, any formal lecture in any temple anywhere in ISKCON in the world. It's a room conversation with 4 individuals on September 10th in a very esoteric place called Vrindavan, Ramanreti, in Prabhupada's room. It's September 10th, 1975 or 6. It's there. I'm only speaking what's readily available on your phone. Just open your phone, go to Folio, go to Letters. And they said, Prabhupada, we just came from Radhakund. And then devotees were having races, Olympic races, Germany versus America. Heavy competition. Americans think they're the best. Germans think they're the best. So they're very good. They should get together. They both have very big egos. And sometimes Germany wins, sometimes America wins. The Olympics are like that. Fortunately, I didn't have to learn German, because if Hitler won the war, I'd have to speak German. So that was a close one. He wanted to take over the world, but he didn't make it. Most of it he took over, but that was his destiny. At any rate, the point is, what is the point? I lost the point. Yeah, so this was a room conversation, and the devotee, so there's something called Kala, Desha, and Patra. Time, Kala, Desh, place. Kala means, Patra means circumstances. Time, place, and Kala, Desh, and Patra. Patra means circumstances, situations, and it also means persons, individuals. Like I may say one thing privately to a very advanced disciple of mine, and I'll say another thing, and that's it. That Desh is in my room and my private kuti, and the persons are me and that one disciple, my most advanced disciple, and the time is the right time for him to hear that instruction. And so I tell him something, but I don't tell everyone. So it's particular, individual. So this must always be considered when anything is given, any shiksha. So Prabhupada has Upadesh Amrita, nectar instruction. He has all of his tikas and purports, and nowhere in any tika or purport of any book does Prabhupada say, don't bathe in Radhakund. I challenge anyone to show me. Prabhupada's commentaries are his shiksha. Yes? Everyone agrees? They're the instructions for all the members of ISKCON and all humanity for the next 10,000 years in terms of Vaidhi Bhakti, and the esoterics of Raganuga are also mixed in there, and everything is there, ultimately, for those that can perceive and withdraw those gems from the unlimited ocean of these books of Prabhupada, which are Krishna's Kaviraj's Chaitanya Charitamrita and Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion, etc. Prabhupada's books are the Gaudiya books. So nowhere. So this conversation, again, we have to consider this statement of Prabhupada, which is not an upadesh for the society of ISKCON. The upadesh, or instructions for all members of ISKCON and all humanity, is in Prabhupada's purports. I should hope everyone agrees with that. This is called the primary pradhan. This is called pradhan shiksha, main teachings. Lecture tapes, letters, those are called supplementary or secondary teachings. Mukhya Upadesh and Gona Upadesh. In this conversation there were 4 or 5 devotees, and it was September. You know, now it's October, it's very warm, especially for Western people. We think it's great. We feel, oh, what nice weather after the summer, but you think, oh, no, water. So the devotees, it was September, it was hot. Very hot. In the beginning of September, they came out to Radhakund. They had the Olympics races. It's a great swimming pool. It's rectangular. You can line up 20, 30 devotees and have laps. Somebody can watch. And so they were doing that. They were having races up and down. It's a good length. I don't know what it is. I don't know, 200 feet or so, whatever, 250 feet. It's a good distance. And then they were okay. And then they saw these Brijbasi kids jumping off the buildings and diving in the Radhakund. And they say, "Hey, those little kids, those little black kids are doing that. We can do that, you know." So then they was diving, then doing somersaults and jackknives and all kinds of there's special kind of there's different kind of dives you can do this that. So they're showing off and everyone's trying to outshow the other. And so that report at Prabhupada, guess what? Because in 1971, in 1972, in 73, in 74, in 75, in 76, and 77, every year that Prabhupada was here, when devotees would come for the Vrindavan Mayapur festival, the whole temple. Let me tell Haridas to tell the guy that. Everyone would, on the order of Prabhupada and all the GBC gurus, we would all bathe in Radhakund Shamakund during our Giriraj Prikrama, during the Mayapur Vrindavan festival in March. There's a carpentry shop right next door. He agreed not to run the generator, but this is the same. At any rate, it's very clear. So in that conversation, there were 4 or 5 devotees, and Prabhupada responded, "Oh, what is this? They're jumping on Radhakund and they're diving off the buildings, 30 feet in the air, and just diving in there." And the devotee said, "Prabhupada, mostly nobody knows how to dive." Haridas Kahan. Chenge. So most people don't know how to dive, so they would just run like these little kids do. They run and you jump. You know what I mean? You run in the building like this and go, jump, feet first. So they were jumping off the buildings going feet first in the Radhakund. Toom! And they saw them, they said, "Prabhupada, they're jumping in Radhakund." And Prabhupada said, "What is this? They shouldn't even touch their feet to Radhakund." That was his reply. He said, when he was given this report in that conversation in September, he said they shouldn't even touch their feet to Radhakund. They should just take Gachman. What are they doing? Or whatever. There's some conversation. So that was 4 devotees. And Prabhupada, that was 1975. And there was 2 more years Prabhupada was manifest in his teaching pastimes here. But he didn't edit his book. After that, Prabhupada didn't say, "Oh, this is very bad. I have to immediately give an instruction to my whole society to stop everyone from bathing. Let me call Rameshwar. Hello, Rameshwar. He's in charge of publishing. I want to edit my book. My purport on Upadeshamrita text 11, I want to change it. You write one sentence there, that although it's very powerful and purifying, all the acharyas recommend bathing, all the members of ISKCON should, from now on, should never take bath in Radhakund. Please edit my book." "Yes, Prabhupada." But that never happened. Did it happen? So Prabhupada's, you know what editing means? Means I wrote something, I want to add something, I want to change something. That's called editing. Like your Facebook page, you want to edit something. So Prabhupada did edit his books, and of course that's a big issue about that. Nowadays, editing, and so he didn't. So that means that Prabhupada did not want this small Kaladesham Patra statement of his to become broadcast as instruction for all of ISKCON. Does everyone agree with what I'm saying? It's very clear, it's logical, it's philosophical, it's historical, and it's Siddhantically correct. So Prabhupada will not go against the acharyas. Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. There are 3 tracks. The bhakti train runs on 3 rails. Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Very special train. There's the monorail. Some trains they run on 1 rail, and some rail, you mean this line, and some trains run on 2. But the bhakti train runs on 3 rails: Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. So they must be in agreement. So this is a nice point. So now we're discussing Radhe Shyam, my friends. There's some of my friends from Delhi. They're my friends and they live in Friends Colony. Because that's where all the friendly people live. Swagatam. Oh my God, this is your son? Bapre Bap. Long time no see and long time you stretched out. Manish, it's like, quite a production here. MM Productions. I've heard of Triple M Industries with Manish and Mukunda, or Mukta. Jai Ho. Up and coming all-star. Jai Chaitanya, Nitai Chaitanya, Jai Chaitanya Nitai. There's one chant like that. And Bangladeshi Kirtaniers came one Kartik in 1995. And after the class in the Manoranjan Dharmashala, evening class there with all the Babajis, they led this kirtan with 25 wampers and 10 mridangas. It was a Bangladeshi famous kirtan party. And I was in Gopal Mandir. Jai Chaitanya, Nitai Chaitanya, Jai Chaitanya, Nitai. And then that Bengali style, Nitai, Nitai. Nitai is going on for ages and eons. Nitai. And then the wampers, these big cartels going. And I was trying to take rest at 8:30 at night to get up at 2 o'clock and chant. And they would come by Gopal Mandir on Radhakund Parikrama around 9 o'clock. 20 wampers and 10 mridangas. And they would stop in front of each temple and do like a crescendo. Jai Chaitanya, Nitai Chaitanya, Jai Chaitanya. I can't forget it. It's permanently etched to my sanskara, my chitta. I can't imitate, of course, because they're professional, devotees and whatnot. So when we're discussing this verse from Vilap Kusumanjali about the sweet glories of Radhakund, and of course here, this is where Radha and Krishna have their Madhyan Leela every day from 10:48 in the morning until just about now, 3:36 in the afternoon. They just left here. And Radharani's gone back to Varsana, Krishna's gone to Nandagram, and that's what's happening with them. So this commentary says they have their midday pastimes here, and there's no place as dear to Radha and Krishna as this place, and it's non-different. And then Srila Das Goswami, the same author of this book, he writes in Brajavilas Stava, the rarity of attaining residence here. It's very rare to attain residence in Radhakund. It's certainly the result of kripa, special mercy, mahant kripa, the mercy of the acharyas. And so he has a verse here in Brajavilas Stava, verse 101. Pura premoda dreke pratipada navananda madure krita sriganda rachita charana varyarchana balat nikamam saminya priyatara saras tira bhuvane vasanti spita yetiha mama jivatame. How does one attain residence at Radhakund? And that's why he says Purma. It says it Purva from previous activities, because what we have in our hand in this life is the reward of what we did. What we have in our hand in this life is a reward or a punishment for what we did with these hands in our last life. That's called karma. Papa karma, papa phal. Punya karma, punya phal. You do bad actions in Purva Janam, and your Purva Janam, prior life, then this life you suffer. Ugly body, no insufficient money, and no education, poor health. This is Papa Phal. And if you do good activities, Dan, Tirtha Snan, and Dan, Brahman Dan, and pujas and yagyas, and Bhagavad Pats, and Bhagavad Gita, Swadhyaya, and Ekadasi, Upavas, and all these pious religious things, dharmic activities, then you get punya phal. Janma Aishvarya Shruta Shribir. Janma Aishvarya Shruta Shribir. You get a noble, good birth, Brahman or Kshatriya, high birth in a high family. And you get a bodily beauty, and good health and strength, and good education. This is a lot of, not everyone in the world has that. Most people don't. So that's called punya, and that's called prakriti punya, material punya. But there's something called divya punya, divine punya, divine religious merit. Because you do good things, punya, you get good result. But when you do good religious things, you get a good religious result. When you serve sadhus and you build temples and you do Shastra Dan, you buy Bhagavad Gitas and give them out, or you give prasadam to sadhus and Brahmins and Vaishnavas. That's called spiritual punya. So he's saying, he said, because in the previous life someone has worshipped Radharani and Krishna, and he describes them here as Govinda and Achyuta. With the sweetness of pure spiritual life in previous lives, those great souls get the opportunity to live on the banks of Swamini's dearmost Radhakund. These great devotees are my life and soul. So he's saying that Swamini Priyatara Saras Tira Bhuvane. Tira means banks, and Priyatara Saras. There's Priya, Priyatara, Priyatam. Priya, Priyatara, these are degrees. They're like good, better, best. The poor, medium class, and rich. So Priya, Priyatara, Priyatam. So like, for example, Radharani, Krishna says to Radharani, he's looking at her eyes and she looks so beautiful and attractive, and he feels so pleased and satisfied to look at the beautiful face and countenance of Radharani. He says, "Oh, my Priyaji." And then she's looking at Shyam and she replies, "Oh, my Priyatam." There's Priyaji, which means you're my very dearly beloved sweetheart. But then Priyatam means Uttam. Priya Uttam means Krishna is saying, "You're my dearly beloved sweetheart." And then Radharani is saying, "You're my dearest, 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 topmost sweetheart, and one and only sweetheart. You're my Priya Uttam, my Priyatam." So in Nimbarki Sampradaya, they generally refer to Radha and Krishna as Priya Priyatam. In their writings, when they're speaking, they say, "Oh, Priya Priyatam," like this. Very sweet, Priya Priyatam. We say Radha Govinda Yugal, or Radha Krishna, Radha Rani and Krishna, whatever. But here, this Rasik Jana, Rasik Vaishnava Raghunath Das Goswami, he's referring to Radharani as Gandharvika, and Krishna as Achyuta. What does the word Achyuta mean? Generally Achyuta means infallible. Achyut, because chut means to fall, and Achyut means without fall. Means one who doesn't fail, he's infallible. God never fails. He always hits the mark. He's always a topper in his exams. So Achyuta, but actually the inner meaning of Achyuta means that person who never fails to reciprocate with the love of his devotees. This is Achyuta Govinda Sri Krishna. Achyuta Govinda Sri Krishna, that Bhagavan, that supreme person, that Purusha, who never fails to reciprocate with the love of his devotees. It's a very nice explanation of Achyuta. He's infallible. He never fails. Some people, you love them, they don't love you. And you give so much love and they may even destroy you or attempt to destroy you. The world is made like that. Like mothers, they love their children so much and then they nourish them and grow them and do everything. And then that child one day says, "Mom, I'm leaving, bye." She walks out, he walks out and never comes back. So he doesn't really love the mother in return. He doesn't do anything. He's on the receiving end. Doesn't serve her, doesn't glorify her, doesn't flatter her, doesn't give her gifts, doesn't do anything. There's no outward expression of love. This child is just being loved and absorbing it all. And that's her love. And that's kind of the speciality of parental love. If you're loved in return, the idea is that when I'm old, my children will take care of me and whatnot, and do my shrad or pind. Shrad. But in the Western countries, those things don't happen, and maybe India in the future also. So he's saying that's very rare. So I think we'll stop there because we're over time a little bit. And we'll discuss more of this verse tomorrow. Oh, blooming lotus-eyed Radha, when I first saw your Radhakund, which is your own pond, or Sarovara, Tava Sarovara, he says in the verse, Yada Tava Sarovaram Sarasabringa Sangolasat. When I first saw Tava Sarovara, your kund, I fell in love with it. And it's filled with sweet water and saras. Saras are these big birds, these flamingo called saras. And bringa means brahmar. Brahmar means these big fat, dark purpley blue bumblebees, big fat ones. I heard these bumblebees buzzing, I saw this beautiful place. And then what happened? When I saw these lotus flowers, I had an intense desire to serve your lotus feet. Lalasa, lalasa, lalasa jani. Lalasa jani. Lalasa means desire, intense desire. Tava dasya rasa. Dasya rase. An intense desire awoke in me, lalasa. An intense, lalasa means hankering, lalasa. An intense desire for you, to serve you, to experience the taste of serving you, the rasa. There's a rasa in serving. Otherwise, how do mothers and fathers serve their children? Unless they experience a ras. It's called vatsalya ras. It's the pleasure, the taste, the happiness and joy that one feels by rendering that service. Every service has its pleasure. So he's seeing Radhakund and it's becoming an excitant. The sight of Radhakund, the vision of Radhakund, because he attained residence here in the middle part of his life when he was about 30 or so. 35, he attained residence here, 40, and he stayed 44 years he stayed here, till ripe old age. So this is some of the beautiful this is the verse that we're commenting on, and this Bilap Kusumanjali. So now we have class in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we